let's listen to Caitlin Johnstone chime in on this. Yeah, it's a pretty brilliant sort of takedown, and I'm going to tell you what it's called. It says, remember, all of this fascism would feel more fashion-y under Trump. This is good. So it's only 3 minutes. Let's listen.
Remember, all this fascism would feel way more fascism-y under Trump. Okay, yes. Police are currently in the process of violently stomping out political dissent on university campuses across America following multiple statements from President Biden attacking the protesters as anti-Semitic for opposing the genocide he's been enthusiastically facilitating in Gaza. And okay, fine. Bands of right-wing thugs are currently going around terrorizing students who don't align with the U.S. government's support for the state of Israel. But before any of my fellow liberals get any wild ideas about ceasing their support for Biden during an election year just because of a little tyranny and genocide.
Nick, when she said that, I thought of you because you always say just a little genocide here on the side.
Dude, Caitlin is so fucking funny, bro. Yeah, bro, Caitlin is so fucking funny, man.
Yeah, but she's pointing out the same point as you were pointing out earlier, which is don't let a little bit of genocide get in the way of you voting for Joe Biden. That's essentially what they're going to be doing to Bernie Sanders and industrial complex.
You're going to let little tyranny scare you.
Ceasing their support for Biden during an election year just because of a little tyranny and genocide. I think it's important to remind everyone that all this fascism would feel way more fascisty if Trump was president. Think about it. If Trump was presiding over jackbooted authoritarian suppression while mobs of marauding fascists attack dissident youths with impunity, wouldn't that just feel way worse? Wouldn't it feel way more scary and upsetting in your feely bits?
Do you think your feely bits? I actually in the boomer, and you can keep it like, or you can put it like that. But in the boomer, I can say for my mom, it would seem more scary. My mom is watching CNN and NBC, and now if it was Trump, she'll be calling me, James, you see this? Watching TV. Trump is taking down the protesters. It would absolutely seem worse, and that is something we can chalk up to propaganda in the way that Americans have been propagandized. But yeah, let's get back to the video and finish this up.
When cops are cracking skulls at Columbia University to punish young people for protesting their government's actions, wouldn't the cracking sound way worse if the president was being all crude and impolite about it? After all, if Trump was allowing these things to happen in the United States, it would be because he is the second coming of Adolf Hitler. But when Biden does it, it's because he's walking a fine line of nuance and diplomacy and something political pragmatism.
Isn't that what they always say? They always lean on that. This is nuance. This is very nuanced. This is very, what was another word they kept saying in that segment? You have to learn both sides. You have to see. No, they said it's complicated. That's the other word they use. It's complicated. Sons of bitches. But all right, let's get back to it, Nick. We only got a little bit left, and then I got one more.
This video is great. This is a perfect video to interject. Segment.
Go ahead.
This is a perfect video to interject into that segment. So let's continue.
Yeah, it kind of just sums up the idea. If you're on the opposite side, like if you're on the side of the police, if you're on the side of the university administrators, like this is really a message for you and the Democrats and the Social Democrats.
Political pragmatism. Whatever. My point is, we don't have to think about it too hard or feel too bad about it. And if there's one thing we've learned over the last 7 months, it's that.
1 second. I feel like it was in the middle of a thought. Let me just rewind it just a little bit so we can get the full thought there.
Coming of Adolf Hitler. But when Biden does it, it's because he's walking a fine line of nuance and diplomacy and something political pragmatism. Whatever. My point is, we don't have to think about it too hard or feel too bad about it. And if there's one thing we've learned over the last 7 months, it's that the only thing that matters is you and your feelings, and the way your feelings are feeling inside. Are campus protests making you feel unsafe and threatened? Then that's all that matters. We needn't get into the details of whether those feelings are based on any factual circumstances. Does someone saying from the river to the sea make your feelings more uncomfortable than U.S. war machinery being used to massacre children? Then we'll focus on that to the exclusion of all else.
Just think about that point she makes. Like, you're mad about from the river to the sea, but your anger is very tapered when we're talking about 35,000, roughly 35,000 officially the numbers are of dead, the death toll. It's that, and you speak to this all the time, or you spoke to this before a few weeks ago, how they're mad about somebody saying death to America, but when it comes to actual dead people, then they somehow swallow their voice. And it's amazing that the Americans, in particular, the subculture of white America, has this ability to do that. It is just amazing to me.
Yeah, this video is glorious, and this is why I learned. And if you follow my work for a long time, I learned to interject comedy in my shows. Like CJ, you probably know back when I first started, I used to be super rigid and stiff. Like, you guys see my old videos, and I noticed this when we did the RBN anniversary. I didn't realize how much I changed. One of the things that happened is, I realized that how important humor is. You can be there spitting logic all you want. Yo, oh my God, there was a 1948 Nakba, Palestinians killed. No matter what you say, you need to interject some sort of soul and humor. That's how you reach people. Like this political humor that Caitlin Johnstone is using. And I learned that as a commentator yourself. You gotta bring something to it to get people attentive. And when you hear this segment by Caitlin Johnstone that is so based, like, this is what we thought Jon Stewart was. Because I follow Caitlin Johnstone. I don't see her miss. CJ, have you ever seen an unfunny Caitlin Johnstone video? Caitlin Johnstone, I want to say that Caitlin Johnstone is what we thought Jon Stewart was. All you gotta do is just imagine someone with extreme comedy chops reading this. Like, imagine Jon Stewart reading this. You have the greatest daily show that was ever made. Like, imagine someone who's good at delivering lines, reading Caitlin Johnstone stuff in front of a live audience. Bro, that would shatter the ratings record if you had a really good comedian that can handle delivering those lines. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's continue the video. My point is, this is just a fantastic video, and probably one of the most effective ways of spreading this anti-genocide awareness, to be honest. Like, what's more effective than this? Let's continue.
Because humor is used to point out how ridiculous the ruling class point of view is. And that's what I like what she does. It's so ridiculous. Like when she says, don't let a little genocide stop you from supporting Joe Biden. Like, that's a ridiculous point to have. So, but let's continue.
Does someone saying from the river to the sea make your feelings more uncomfortable than U.S. war machinery being used to massacre children? Then we'll focus on that to the exclusion of all else. If Trump was letting these horrible things happen, we'd feel outraged and upset. We might even feel obliged to get up and go protest the things he is doing, which, as we all know, can often cause us to miss brunch. But because a trusted Democrat is in office, we can just relax and think pleasant thoughts and drink bottles of wine and NyQuil in the bathtub. You don't have to like what's happening to your country. You don't even have to pay attention to it. All you have to do is make sure you keep telling everyone to shut up and stop criticizing the president, and to tick that little box next to Biden's name in November. Because it's just a tough fact that in order to defeat Orange Mussolini, we're going to have to get comfortable with fascism.
That is crazy. In order to stop Trump, we have to get comfortable with fascism. That is a fucking great line.